Alright, what's going on Xbox and YouTube? Now, the Battlefield Hardline beta just ended yesterday, but I figured since the beta is over and since jets are pretty much guaranteed not to be in Battlefield Hardline, I figured I would share with you guys on how to be an expert scout helicopter pilot and gunner. Basically, to be your own teammate, to basically the best way you could possibly run the transport helicopter with one or two of your buddies is preferably the best way, but we're going to go ahead and jump into things right now. Now, obviously, in order to start this, you're going to need to get into the transport helicopter, like I said, preferably with one of your friends. Now, if you can, if you're used to the way the helicopter flies with the normal controls, you can go ahead and use those if you're good with them. Or they have a different setup, which is basically, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I believe it is Legacy and Veteran, which basically makes your helicopter control the up and down movement using the triggers instead of your, thumbsticks. So the first thing you're going to want to do is go after the enemy team's transport helicopter or attack helicopter, depending on if you're playing Conquest Large. But you want to start with the air vehicles. You want to take out first the attack heli, and if you do not see the attack heli, you want to take out the transport heli. Now, as you can see, my friend is on the left side of my helicopter. Now, I am basically just giving him all the kills I possibly can, and then later on, he actually is able to heal the helicopter because he is actually a mechanic, which is the best thing. Both of you guys should be a mechanic, because if you do, you can swap seats and you guys can repair the vehicle while one flies and vice versa. Now, you're going to want to kind of fly as low as you possibly can. We are playing Hotwire right now, which is basically domination with moving vehicles. Now, the object of this is basically just to get rid of these guys or have your team drive around the points. Now, we are basically running as support, me and my friend here. And as you can see, we will always stay as low to the ground as possible. The lower you are, the stronger the gun works and the more accurate it is. Now, we are not using the standard machine gun that comes on the helicopter as the guy is on the right side of my heli. We are actually using the M3M. As you can see, it says left gunner, M3M, and then HMG is your default, which is the right gunner. Now, the M3M is actually more effective against vehicles and armored vehicles, armored, pilots, armored people, but it pretty much is just a heavier version of the defaulted weapon. Now, there are other weapons you can get, such as the minigun. Now, the minigun just spits bullets like fire. You're gonna want to probably use that if you're not going after too many vehicles and you're mostly going after light infantry people. Now, the minigun still has a gnarly firing rate on it, so you will probably do a lot better off. Me and my buddies seem to like the miniguns a lot more. But back to what we were originally talking about. Now, if you notice, there is no other points to go after. You pretty much just go after every car you possibly can. And like I said, you want to keep your helicopter as low to the ground as humanly possible. The lower you are, the more damage you'll deal out, but be careful, because the lower you are, the easier you are to shoot too. So it kind of works itself out, and holy god, that car just went flying. And as you can see, now I actually can have my helicopter repaired, which is kind of a cool thing. And once again, we are going after the dominant vehicle on the enemy team, which is their transport heli. And most people are not too good at this, so it's usually pretty easy. But the number one thing you want to have as a pilot in the transport helicopter would be gyro stabilizers. Now, gyro stabilizers, for anyone who's played Battlefield 4 will know that if you do get hit by a missile or something that basically renders your vehicle damaged for a few minutes, it will let you have control of your vehicle long enough to the point where one of your friends can actually repair your vehicle back to 100%. Now, this is obviously useful for multiple things. If we get hit, we don't have to necessarily go all the way back to our spawn to wait for our vehicle's health to go back up. We can always have somebody else there to do it. Now, as you can see throughout the game, as we get kills, you'll see that I get these little perks that come up, and basically you get rewarded for doing a good job in this game. And in the bottom right corner, right under my name there, you can see that you are allowed a maximum of 4 perks, and you basically get these rewarded to you the better you play. Now, that is a pretty awesome and different thing compared to the way Battlefield 4 works. And I'm really happy they got rid of jets, or at least mostly got rid of jets. It's not 100% confirmed yet, but by the looks of the beta, I would have to say that there are no jets, seeing as though I did not see any assignments for a jet or any patches, etc. But, I mean, I guess that's kind of a bummer that jets won't be in the game. There's a good 90% chance they won't be in the game, so... But it might make for more balanced infantry gameplay. I remember the jets being way overpowered. So, it could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing. Maybe they'll bring them in their own game type or something along those lines. But yeah, the best thing you're going to want to do in this game is to always have the M3M or the minigun, or both if you can have 2 gunners, or if you're lucky enough to have 2 gunners. And you want to have at least 1 repairman. Now obviously the more repairman you have, the more dominance you'll be able to cast onto the enemy team. And as you can see, we are already pretty much dominating. This is how you go 40-0 right here. For those people wondering how people get double-digit kills every game with single-digit deaths, this is how you do it. Now, the biggest question that everybody was saying and talking about lately, or at least during the beta, was, are the helicopters too strong? And I would have to say to a certain degree, or it depends on who is actually flying and who is actually shooting in the helicopter, because it makes a hell of a difference if you have a good pilot versus a bad pilot, or you have a good gunner versus a bad gunner, or, you know, all different kinds of variables like that. So it's really hard to tell. As you can see, we are going down at the moment, but it's really hard to tell whether or not that's actually going to be a big problem when the full game releases. Now, for the attack helicopter, I'm not too sure. Did not play with the attack helicopter too much, although I really do like it. But yeah, as far as hotwire goes, the only things you seem to have to worry about are the infantry guys trying to shoot you down with missile launchers. Now, as you can see, there are little weapon, spots dotted all over the map right now. And a couple of them are SMAWs, and 1 or 2 of them, depending on the map, are Stinger missiles. Now, those will be your ultimate downfall if you get hit by one, because they get 3 missiles, and they pretty much will just stalk you until you get shot down. Now, these seem to be more of a problem on downtown, on the map downtown, but you can counteract this with a stealth coating, which is actually super expensive. I did not get enough money to actually buy this, although my friend made over 400,000 in like 7 or 8 games, because we went 40-0 a few times in a row, or around 40-0 at least 3 times in a row, and several times that were 30 or 25 or close to 50 even. So yeah, my buddy racked up the money pretty quickly. So it actually, it helps if you have 2 people. That way you guys can switch off and you guys can both get the points. But in this case, me and my friend were just having way too much fun dominating in this game type. Now, Hotwire, I do assume they will make changes to the helis and how things react, or at least how vehicles react. Although it didn't seem too overpowering once a lot of people discovered that they had a repair tool. And you can actually upgrade several of your vehicles, but once again, as you can see, you want to go after the scout heli first, because once you do, there's really nothing anybody can do to stop you. So that is that. This is how you become an expert pilot in the transport heli, guys, right here. Now, I think I've covered all the bases, but I'm just going to go ahead and give you guys my overall opinion of this game. I'm going to have to let you guys know that this is probably one of my favorite games to come out of all time. Now, I played the beta last year, believe it or not, and there were several things about the beta I did not like, and they did change them. Like, one of them was, spawning with an RPG. Spawning with an RPG is just way too powerful. And it's just that kind of stuff that they changed, just little tiny tweaks. They made the networking a little bit better, but it's still really bad. But overall, it's a really, really fun game. There's some little jittery lag every once in a while, and I was having some issues recording this game, but overall I was pretty happy with the beta, assuming they're going to fix the issues. But I do like the game types now. Hotwire was probably my favorite game type out of all of them, but there was actually a game type which was not in the current open beta, but it was in the closed beta last year, and the game type was called Blood Money. Now I will bring that up for you guys just for a second here so you guys know what it's all about. Blood Money basically is two teams, cops versus robbers, and there is a central vault in the middle of the game that has been like broke open. Now your object as the cop or the robber is to steal the money and bring it back to your getaway vehicle, and the first team up to $5 million wins. Now the teams can steal money from one another, so once you bring your money to your vault, it's not necessarily always safe. It's always, you know, at the risk of being stolen by the enemy team, which makes it very interesting. Now this was probably one of my favorite game types. I'm not sure why they didn't put it in the open beta, but hey, we will see it in the full game. But with that being said, guys, I'm going to leave you guys to the rest of this gameplay, and please let me know if I helped you guys out at all on becoming an expert transport helicopter pilot and gunner. But with that being said, guys, I will see you on my next video. Peace.